Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And I know we said we weren't going to talk about that thing that happened over the weekend, but there was a bit of a disclaimer there. We said we were going to try not to talk about it as long as it didn't impact pop culture, as long as it didn't impact Hollywood, and here we are. And it didn't didn't take very long either.
Minutes of afterwards, Hollywood started to make comments.
So many people losing their collective shiznit. So we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about Jack Black, Tenacious D, and Gina Carano's response to how Jack Black is being treated. And look, we're going to see a difference. Now, there have been some left-leaning celebrities that have been quick to denounce any kind of political violence. But there have also been a lot of people that are just like, yeah, this is cool. It's too bad he missed. Even though a father, a firefighter is dead because of it. You know, it doesn't matter. It's like almost got him. And we're going to see this as we get closer to the election. Like, I think 2024 is going to be nothing compared, you know, or 2017 is going to be nothing compared to 2024.
Yeah.
It's all just days after. I mean, it's hell, as it happened, even Mark Hamill was saying some crazy stuff.
I'm going to start by saying, and I said the same thing on Twitter immediately. It's like, if you think that's okay, or if you say really terrible things about someone almost getting killed, and that means you're just a piece of shit. I'm sorry. And I would say the same thing if it was the other way around and it was someone trying to shoot at Biden or Harris. I would say the exact same thing. If you were celebrating or complaining that they missed, I would be calling you out, because that is not okay, never acceptable. You know, there's a lot of people who are out there making comments like Mark Wade, and then he they're all deleting it real quick, and they're like, oh, I never said it. It's like, yeah, you did.
Yeah, there are other people in comics that are saying that the firefighter deserved it because he went to the rally.
We're not going to talk about all that. We're going to talk about, we're going to stick to pop culture, but we're just saying there's a lot going on, and just, if you're going to behave in that way, that says more about you than it ever said about, you know, Trump and company. And it's like, if you're supposed to be above it, that's not the way to go about it. And I'm just, you know, very appalled at some people's behavior, because I would say the same if it was the other way around. It's never acceptable. It's terrible and should never happen.
No.
Anyway, so we're going to talk about this because Jack Black's Tenacious D bandmate got in trouble.
Yeah.
Because he made a comment at a concert in Australia. And you said Australia threatened to deport him?
Yeah, apparently Australia threatened to deport him. That's what I heard. But yeah, he made this offhand comment as they were doing a birthday wish, and he basically wished that they wouldn't miss Trump next time. Yeah.
And it wasn't, I want to make sure I make it very clear, it wasn't Jack Black who said it.
People thought it was Jack. I thought it was Jack Black at first. It was hard to tell because the video was so small.
Yeah.
And you couldn't see who it was.
It was not him. It was his bandmate, and the bandmate has lost his agent, I guess, already over the whole ordeal. But anyway, back to what I was going to talk about, which is the situation with Gina Carano. Okay, and this all ties together. Just bear with me while I explain. So for those of you who have been following our videos and following the situation, Gina Carano was fired from Lucasfilm, from The Mandalorian, and probably the Rangers of the New Republic.
Yeah.
Because she was making comments on social media that tended to lean towards the right. And one comment she made, which she was totally right about, and she was historically accurate, and it was never implied that which party she meant, about the Holocaust and about the situation that led up to it, got her fired from Lucasfilm and Disney. We're going to look at those comments here in a bit. And they said because of abhorrent and how she was making a mockery of the Holocaust. Meanwhile, and this is to her point, which she's not incorrect about, she's suing Disney and Lucasfilm because at the same time they're firing her, they are allowing other people who work for Disney, who have worked on Star Wars projects or Marvel projects, to continue to work. They do not have to apologize. They are not threatened to be fired. They are also all male, which is, you know, so there seems to be a double standard. Plus, it seems like they have a problem with women having an opinion, but not men. And she brought up a comment, she made a comment after the Jack Black situation with the Tenacious D, because once again, Jack Black didn't say it, but it's tied to his band. He also didn't denounce it on stage. And because of that, you know, Disney's not putting out a thing saying he's abhorrent.
Yeah.
He's not coming under fire from them.
So let's be clear. There definitely is a double standard. And this is what we're going to see. We're going to see a lot of people rightfully denounce political violence, right? Mm-hmm. But
always denounce political violence.
Deep down, some of these people are like, crap. And you know they are. You know they are, but a lot of them aren't hiding it.
It seems like the double standard relates to the fact that she leans more conservative and they all lean far left. So you're a far left opinion that's abhorrent, that uses the Holocaust, that is extreme. That is okay. That has been the pattern of behavior. That is what Disney has been showing us by the way they've been acting. That's acceptable. And if you are a man saying it, it's even more acceptable. But if you are a woman or you seem to be conservative, it is not acceptable. You are abhorrent.
So what is going to happen is, we're going to see this double standard, and this is actually going to help her case for sure.
I agree. Well, so Mark Ruffalo made comments the other day. We have a bunch of stuff, and Mark Hamill keeps going.
Oh my God, Mark Hamill! He was like, he did in the same tweet. I am so freaking disgusted and disappointed. Like, Mark, even that you don't like Trump, whatever, that's your prerogative, right? But he just keeps saying that stuff. It's his identity. His whole identity now is basically attacking Trump and Trump supporters on Twitter.
But we're going to take a look at this before we get into it any further.
Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Geeky's going to lead this one, but
yeah, because I wrote the article. Actually, it's good to give credit to Mr. Milo over at Pirates and Princesses, because he's the one who alerted me to Gina Carano's comments. So I mentioned about the lawsuit that's going on. So she is suing Disney because Disney said she was abhorrent and that it gave her a hit to her career.
Yeah.
She's had trouble since. And she said, after 20 years of building my career from scratch and during the regime of the former Disney CEO Bob Chapek, Lucasfilm made a statement on Twitter terminating me from The Mandalorian, saying Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm and there are no plans for her to be in the future. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their culture and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. Nothing could be further from the truth. And the truth is I was hunted down from everything I posted to every post I liked because I was not in line with the acceptable narrative at the time. My words were consistently twisted to demonize and dehumanize me as an alt-right wing extremist. It was a bullying smear campaign aimed at silencing, destroying, and making an example out of me. She never used aggressive language. She just shared thought-provoking quotes, pictures, memes, and occasionally her own words, not with aggression, but with respect, and sometimes comedy. And Disney fired her for that. Now, they got mad first because she refused to put pronouns in her bio. She took months and months of harassment. Meanwhile, other women or people that did not, to line like, Christina Ariel, who was making some arguably racist comments.
Arguably.
Towards white people.
Arguably.
I'll just say it to cover my butt.
Yeah.
Disney did nothing about that. But because Gina Carano politely declined to put pronouns in her bio, they let her take months and months of abuse and said nothing. Here's what she said that got her fired. Jews are beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to this point, the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is it any different from hating someone for their political views? No political sides were taken, just, everybody's being very polarized, and we have seen a pattern of very toxic behavior, which I honestly believe is being perpetuated by the media and social media.
Yeah.
Keeping people at each other's throats. And it used to be, everybody's always been like, my side, your side, but it's gotten far, far worse to the place we're talking like, people are getting hurt, people are getting, canceled, they're getting, physically harmed over because you voted a different way than them. It's insane. She was not wrong in what she said, but she was fired for that. She also said that she was being told she had to go to trainings and stuff, especially with the pronouns and things.
Yeah, they were basically, I think they were making it as, look, I have seen this happen in corporate settings where you make it as difficult and uncomfortable for the person you want to get rid of without actually getting rid of them. So it's like, well, if she won't just leave on her own, we know this is going to irritate her, because I don't think anybody else probably had to go through that. I think it was just her.
Well, no, they haven't. Like they've known people who said things, and they never had these, and they're men. and they have not had.
But they're
left-leaning men have never had the same, re-education training.
Well, I mean, Rosario Dawson, like, weren't people trying to get her canceled?
Yes,
too?
they said she was against trans people because her one, I guess, friend of the family was trans, and they were claiming that they were beating them because they were trans. It got thrown out of court because there wasn't. I guess they withdrew their case, if I remember correctly. So, they were I was dogpiling her. But then because it got thrown out of court and she leans left, it all went away.
Yeah, she seems like she's pretty balanced though. Like, I don't think she's crazy.
She seems yeah. Well, so does Gina Carano. Yeah, everybody says how nice she is. Even her cast members came out to her defense. Like, Gina's not like that at all. But
Pedro Pascal did too. Yeah, and he's pretty far.
We're going to mention him in a bit. Yeah. So apparently, at an Australia concert Australia for Tenacious D, Kyle Gass, what a name, said, don't miss Trump next time. Yeah,
that was his birthday wish, yeah.
So Jack Black did not say it, but he didn't correct him either. But I guess he's made a comment. He's made a statement since. He said, this is Black. I was blindsided by what was said at the show on Sunday. I would never condone hate speech or encourage political violence in any form. After much reflection, I no longer feel it is appropriate to continue the Tenacious D tour. Well, you also got told not to. All future creative plans are on hold. I'm grateful to the fans for their support and understanding.
So here's where it looks really bad for Jack Black, because he just got done doing a whole song and dance for Joe Biden, supporting Joe Biden, and then he's letting his bandmate say that, and I'd be like, dude, what the? I mean, I guess in the middle of a show, if you are caught off guard, but I'd be like, the audience was even like, whoa, what the hell?
I mean, you're caught. The thing is, he didn't say anything, and that's what her point is. So Carano said, would Lucasfilm or Disney like to comment on one of their actors on The Mandalorian promoting and at the very least not backing down and calming the actual abhorrent rhetoric on stage about joking about the assassination attempt failing to kill President Trump? Go ahead, what were you saying?
No, I was gonna say, again, this isn't even just about this is what angers me so much about these celebrities going off about, like, well, you should have got him next time. Mark Hamill's going on about his ear, Trump's ear, and all stuff.
Yeah.
There is a firefighter, dead. Okay? Forget Trump. That guy's dead now. His family's destroyed because of this, and you guys are just going to be like, well, you should have got him next time, idiot. You couldn't shoot straight.
If they shot him, they probably wouldn't. The other guy wouldn't be dead. Anyway, this is what she also said. She had, or is calling for peace between neighbors like I did the only values you at Disney Lucasfilm find abhorrent? And like making dangerous statements towards your female cast members to broadcast out to the Hollywood press and world. Not this one, though, right? Or last week's Mark Ruffalo comment, or all the ones we have documented before. Then she puts like a emoji.
This isn't going to help Disney's case, but it is. Look, I mean, the reality is regardless of what people are saying, a good chunk of Hollywood probably agrees with Jack Black's bandmate. They're just not going to verbalize it because they know there's going to be career repercussions for it.
Now, this, like, July 1st, we talked about it. Here's what, remember, she was fired for her abhorrent rhetoric about the Holocaust. And all she was saying was that people, they're dividing us and they can take over when they do this. Don't let them. Don't hate your neighbor because they're thinking differently than you. And Mark Ruffalo said on July 1st, just for the record, history is repeating itself. And it was a Nazi talking about the 1933, the Enabling Act in Germany. Now, about the Holocaust and Nazis, he's allowed to post that. She is not. Mark Ruffalo, well, I don't know how much Hulk stuff he's doing, but they didn't disavow him. They didn't call him names from Disney or Marvel.
Because they agree.
Pedro Pascal, when the election, and this would have been during the time he was working on The Mandalorian, he put this up, losers, compared people who voted for Trump to the Nazis and to the Confederates. That was fine. He also put this up, but this was prior to, I think, being on projects. He would probably auditioning then, though. Germany and the Holocaust, America in 2018. That's completely fine. Reed Richards, and not only that, Pedro Pascal got rewarded because he not only get to play The Mandalorian, knowing that he had posted this stuff and there's a double standard, they still hired him to play Reed Richards in the MCU. Yeah,
and Reed Richards is going to be probably the Tony Stark replacement. He's probably going to be the new main hero father figure character. Mark Hamill. This is what So in the tweet where he denounces violence, he also made a couple quips about gun control and stuff like that. And I understand like that's it. Like I don't see any reflection on the family that was destroyed by this.
Well, he's busy trying to use it. I mean, this is Mark Hamill, who was out with Biden, doing videos about, he was promoting Biden. Which, hey, again, the celebrities, this is what Gina Carano says, too. She thinks that people are allowed to have their opinion. She says you don't have to agree with it. She thinks that, like, Mark Ruffalo was allowed to say what he could say, and Pedro Pascal was allowed to say what they wanted to say. She's not saying they can't. She's saying that if they're allowed to say what they want to say, why is she not allowed to say what she wants to say?
Yeah.
But she thinks that they have the right to say it.
Because, again, it depends on whether or not they agree with you. The people in charge, do they agree with you or not? And they basically, they felt unsafe that she was there.
But this is Mark Hamill constantly. Oh, you fear our democracy.
Trump.
Violence in politics ever. There shouldn't be violence in politics ever. But he just goes on and on and on. And this is just like recent. It's like constantly. Constantly he is posting stuff.
Does he post anything about the father, the firefighter that was killed?
No, he doesn't care.
Yeah, that's just it. They don't care. They're like stepping over it. Or in the worst case scenario, they're actually fucking celebrating it. I have seen people celebrate this guy getting killed. There's that one streamer, Destiny. He's basically like, well, F that guy because he was at the rally. So whatever happens to him, I don't give a shit. We had comments from, there's another comic book creator. I saw a video. Was it Cheryl Eaton? I think she's got me blocked, but she was going on. Basically this kind of person hates me. So, whatever happens to him, whatever, I
think it says so much about you if you think it's acceptable because they're not on your side. And I am very concerned about the number of people that think it's completely okay. And then they found out, a lot of them fucked around and found out because after they posted it, they caught in big trouble. Like this guy from Tenacious D. Like, I know a couple people there's some doctor so-and-so that was at a school. She took it down, but she's under fire. Mark Wade's getting his ass kicked online because of stuff he said. I guess Heather Antos said stuff too. Shocker.
Heather Antos, I think she posted, if I remember correctly, she posted a GIF of Palpatine saying that the attack on his life left him scarred, but his resolve has never been stronger. Like, Trump is Palpatine. Like,
I didn't see what she posted. I thought people said she did.
These people are so pickled, and I think that they're so out of touch with. Then
they're shocked when there's backlash, and it's like, what was it they always told people? Freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences.
That's what they say,
and
right?
And it's like, look, it's terrible. I mean, even if you think it, don't say it out loud. I mean, obviously, don't. And I wouldn't recommend not thinking at all. But the point, I'm back to this point, is that Gina Carano is trying to make, and she's more than proven it over and over again, is there has been a double standard at Disney. Hell, their own Nat Geo did a documentary about the Holocaust and basically said the same thing she did in their own documentary that's owned by Disney.
It's historical fact.
But she was fired for her abhorrent comments, which are the most mild thing I've seen, and they're showing you these tweets.
Oh, no, don't you know? Now it's trendy to hate Jewish people.
Right. Well, I mentioned that.
A couple months ago, that was the big thing.
Before it was punch a Nazi, and now
before it was punch a Nazi, and you're an anti-Semite, and then a couple months ago, it was like, well, if you support Israel, we got to cancel you.
And you can't keep track of what's what. But I'm just saying, it's like she's proven that the double standard exists, and then if they don't want to argue that, okay, well, it's not about politics, then is it about gender? Which one is it, Disney? Because these are all dudes, and they're allowed to say what they want, and there's no repercussions, public repercussions for them. But Gina Carano, you called her abhorrent and all this other stuff. You knew there were people targeting her and hating on her because she refused to put pronouns in her bio, because a bunch of people decided that she was the representation because they assigned her character was the representation. You sat back and did nothing, and then blamed her for not going along with it, and then you're going to sit here and say, but she's the bad person. There's no double standard here. Well, there's clearly a double standard here. Yeah. And it's either this political double standard or a gender double standard, either of which look really bad for you, Disney.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to help their case. I think they're going to wind up having... Well, she doesn't want to settle, right? She wants to take it all the way to get the discovery.
Probably I would.
James O'Keefe is salivating. I would love to see what
comes out of the discovery on that one, but yeah.
I'm legitimately concerned because like I said at the beginning of the video, 2016, 2017, we saw the derangement. It is going to be nothing compared to this year. And I either way it goes in November, I expect violence. I expect riots. I don't even know what to think. I mean, this country is so divided, and
that was her point.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember a time in our lifetimes anyway that we've been this divided. Like, people actually asked in the comments section on one of our videos, and they're like, well, what did it used to be like? Tell me, granddad.
What it used to be like? What it used to be like was people voted and you didn't ask them.
You could be civil.
You didn't ask them who they voted for.
No.
Like, all the time you go to vote, and you didn't know who your friends or people you knew voted for unless they told you. And you know what? That was fine. You were fine with it. You didn't ask. You're like, if they want me to know, they'll tell me. And it was not a problem. And yeah, there were some heated times. I'm not going to say there wasn't. But nothing that I've seen like this.
Not where we're resorting to this kind of depravity and the violence and joking about. Like, I remember working at the one newspaper I worked at. We had a guy on staff who I got along great with. This guy hated Ronald Reagan with a passion. Now, I wasn't working at the paper, obviously, when Reagan was president, but we were doing the eulogy for Reagan, and he was just like, he hated Reagan. He blamed Reagan for everything that ever went wrong with the country ever. But we got along fine, right? The publisher of the paper was actually pretty conservative, but he still wrote something, and he said a couple of nice things in the piece, as I recall, and he did his job, and he didn't let it affect his job. And
because that's what your job was,
because that's your job,
fact-based.
Yeah, another job I had, I literally worked for a Democratic senator. That he was the boss, and most of the staff were Republicans because it was mostly ex-military that worked there, and everybody got along fine. We just did our jobs. We were all given off to go vote. They didn't ask who we voted for.
Why I come down to media and social media is what I blame for this, because I think, especially with the internet, there's so much misinformation. There's so much narrative. A lot of news outlets, we saw what happened with this whole situation where they were like, "Oh, he fell," and there's so much misinformation, there's so much narrative and spin, and you're rewarded on social media and in the media to get people to hate each other, because then you get more clicks, more engagement. We already know the algorithms of social media deliberately show people things that they're going to be mad about to try to get them to engage, and because of all those things, I think that everybody's focusing on differences and not similarities, and they're focusing on a lot of tinfoil hat theories and not reality, and they're worried that this is going to happen, that's going to happen, and some of it's so ridiculous, you're just like, where are you even getting this from? And I think that especially easily swayed people who don't do research, people that
celebrities.
I was going to say, yeah. Younger people, especially that really want a cause, or they want to feel accepted, and they aren't usually accepted, are easily swept up in this. And that's where we get these people on Twitter that are often very young and very uninformed and very triggered by everything. And I think that it is a perfect storm for what is happening. And it doesn't need to be this way. But no one's taught people better.
I think what's sad is when you have people that are old enough to know better, when you have people in their 50s, 60s, even their 70s, going on endlessly on Twitter like they're 17 or 18 years old, and these are people that have a lot of life experience, and they're just like, it has become their personality. And I'm like sitting here looking at some of these celebrities, and I'm like, is your life so uneventful now that this is what you're reduced to? Just all day on Twitter complaining about politics.
And people, it becomes, like you said, it becomes almost like it's a religion.
It is a religion.
Your side against their side becomes a religion. And we've crossed normal concern and worrying about different, things that you're voting towards. We're going past that into a cult-like territory.
A holy war.
Unfortunately,
it's a holy war.
But the good news is most of the people, I think, don't fall into the extremes.
No.
Unfortunately, what you hear about because of the media and because of social media are the extremes. And it amplifies it to such a degree that people think that is the loudest, opinion, loudest voice, and then they get scared, they get triggered. And it really isn't. It's just that they are deliberately trying to trigger you so that you engage. And people are blaming the media, and I honestly don't disagree. I completely believe that a lot of this is media, because I came from a time where most things, I'm sure there was some skewed stuff, but for the most part, people tried to stick to the facts. And you went to work and you didn't know who people voted for. No one told you, and it didn't matter. You weren't on social media constantly, so you had to know everything about every person, every day, their lives, their thoughts. People feel like, they have to just constantly bleh all over the internet, and then it just angers somebody else, and people get like completely this bitter hatred for somebody based on a post, and it might be something they mistook. It's insane.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just a quip that sets people off or whatever. But I mean, I'm looking at this like back in the day, we were almost better off not knowing a whole lot about our celebrities, right? Because I remember when people were really annoyed that you had celebrities like Bono or Sting, and they always had, social causes and stuff like that. And you'd read an article about U2 in Rolling Stone, and here's Bono for like 19 paragraphs going on about, save the oceans or whatever. And people are like, shut the hell up and tell me about the new album. And now that's all Rolling Stone is.
It's like these celebrities feel like, especially that they, that it's their job to police everyone else. And I think a lot of the negativity is being amplified. Anyway, we were going to try not to talk about this, but it really did play directly into something that we have been talking about, and I can't talk about the Gina Carano situation without mentioning this.
I think it's going to keep happening. This is the thing, and I told people on Twitter, I said we're going to try to avoid talking about the incident unless it directly ties to pop culture. Unfortunately, that's going to be ground zero because all these celebrities have made a habit of making their entire personality anti-right wing, So yeah, they're going to be, once it cools down a little bit, I think you're going to see more insanity. I think at this point, a lot of people are upset. A lot of people are concerned, rightfully so. I think that what you're seeing are extreme. They're focusing on the extremes. I think the majority of people, both leaning right and left, are pretty rational, normal people. I would say I'd say probably 85% of people are normal people and all think this is completely unacceptable. And people are getting very concerned about it. What I would recommend you do is, one, stay off social media. Or if you go on social media, try to curate it to be things that, if you see something that don't even look at, just keep scrolling. Yeah.
And if you really feel like concerned, like you feel like you have no control and you're very worried, go find something you do have control over. Go find something that you can do, like, maybe go walk away from the news and the internet and then go volunteer at an animal shelter, or go do some volunteer work at a library, or find something to go clean up trash in your neighborhood, or find something that you can do that you feel like I can't control the whole big picture, but I can do this much on my own to make it better, to make something better. It might not be enough to solve this, but you're doing something to make the world a better place that you can control. And it might make you feel a little bit better about it. I don't know what to tell you. The media and social media are not going to stop anytime soon. Hollywood apparently is off their rocker. Disney will let this, let stuff like this get said. Mark Ruffalo, what he said and everything else, but they'll fire a woman because she said the same thing. And then they're trying to fight her to stop her from winning in court and get it tossed out and saying that she's lying. I mean, Disney, what the fuck? She has so much evidence on you, and you haven't even got the discovery yet.
Yeah,
which is why you're better off to maybe not take it to discovery, because I think you're gonna get your ass handed to you, which is why you're probably trying very hard to get dismissed.
Yeah.
So anyway, this has gone for half an hour. Can we wrap this up?
Yeah, well, we basically took like 5 videos and compressed it into one video.
Well, there you go. And I'm hoping this is all we're going to be doing, talking about this, but I have a feeling it's not going to, because I think you said I think it's going to get worse. But
most of the world, the one takeaway, though, is, like you said about getting outside of social media, most of the world is still, well, at least most of the world. Most of the world is still pretty normal. Most of the world outside your window is still pretty normal.
Your everyday life, you're going to run into more normal people than non-normal
people. And it's the normal people that are getting tired of all this, and it needs to stop. But if you spend all of your time on social media and absorbing this, you're going to become quote unquote radicalized, because you're going to be pickled. Your brain is going to think that this is how everybody is, and that's not the case.
I don't believe it's this case either, but it is what it is. But I think Gina Carano has more than proven that there seems to be a double standard with Disney, either by gender or by politics. So we're going to wrap this up finally.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.
Bye.